Hey, welcome back to Tuesday afternoon.
Hey everybody, I'm back, and today we're going to be making Nightmare Catnap. Or you might call them Gas CatNap, Hostile CatNap, Evil CatNap, whatever you want to call them. That's what we're making today. We're going to be using polymer clay, original Sculpty, to make this sculpture. And we're going to just start out with a base of aluminum foil. You're just going to make that into a ball, and then you're going to have one side flat, one side rounded. You're going to cover that in your polymer clay. I'm just going to put a thin layer of it, and then after we get it all smoothed out, you're going to take a big wad of polymer clay and just secure it onto the front where the face is. This is going to make the socket area for the eyes, and we're just going to take this ball tool and we're just going to make the sockets. Now the bottom of the clay will make the roof of the mouth, and it's really easy just to shape the brow line area. Next we're going to make his ghastly smile, and I really love how this is made, and it looks fantastic when it's all completed. You're going to want to put his nose on there, and it has this very bony like effect. His whole body is kind of like a giant kind of nightmare skeletal cat. Here I'm making the ears, and they're just really easy to make and stick on, and I'm going to use one as the template to make the other ear. After you do that, you just want to smooth the edges and stick them on just like this. You're going to also want to put a hole in the back so you can attach it to the body. So don't forget to do that. Just some small pieces of polymer clay for the eyes, and I went ahead and made a little hole for his pupil. Here I'm adding some texture on with a toothbrush, and you might want to also put some crevices and lines in just to kind of give it the skeletal effect. And I think that looks pretty good. After you finish this, I'm just going to recommend you go ahead and just stick this right in the oven just to make sure nothing happens to it. And you want to bake this for the full amount of time because you're not going to need to put this back in the oven. Just follow the directions on the back of the box. Here I'm making the torso. It's a core of aluminum foil, and then a thin layer of polymer clay goes onto that. After I cover it in that layer of polymer clay, I'm going to just put some extra pieces on. I'm trying to make the sculpture as light as possible because he does have very slender legs, and the more weight is more pressure. Here I'm just marking out where his rib cages are, and then I'm just going to shape it with my finger. Always make sure that you have the character model out either on your cell phone, a tablet device, or even print it off. You just want to make sure that you look at the tiny details to make sure that you have them, because I can talk from experience. The little details matter, and if you forget those details, it's gonna haunt you. At least it haunts me, you know? Anyway, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me or just message down in the comments section. If I can't answer you, I know somebody else can and probably will, and I just love such a supportive community. Here I'm just adding a little texture on using various tools. I wanted to have a very skeletal effect like we did with the head, and it's relatively easy to do once you beat it up a little bit. I went ahead and put that in the oven because it's all done in my mind. That's done, that's good to go. And I cut some wire, and I'm gonna be working on the legs here. But when you're cutting with wire, always use protection with your eyes. Don't use scissors to cut wire, use a wire cutter. His legs are so thin that I don't usually do this, but I am going to cover wire with polymer clay, very thin. You have to have a lot of patience doing this, and it's kind of difficult to do because if you do it too thin, the clay's going to crack and break. And if you do it too thick, it's not going to look like the sculpture. So just have a lot of patience. Remember that when you're making this leg, you're going to need wire that will go up and into the torso. So I recommend having some wire there that's not covered in clay, about 1.5 inches, and then you're going to want to have some wire on the bottom where you're going to attach his paw. You're going to want to go ahead and bake that part of the leg in the oven, and you can go ahead and start working on his feet that are claws, not really paws, you know. Here is just really easy, and once that leg is done baking in the oven and the claw is all finished, his claw paws are all finished, then you're going to want to press the leg into the paw like this. And once you get all smoothed out, put clay all around it, extend it down, make the bone the finishing area. I took some foil, wrapped it around it, and put it in the oven for the lowest amount of time. You're going to have to do that for all the legs, and you just repeat the process over again. Here I'm making the neck, and I just need a little bit of thickness added, so I put some aluminum foil on and covered that in polymer clay, and I'm just working out the details of the neck, and I'm going to put that in the oven with the rest of the legs. If you like my content, please like and subscribe. Make sure you have that little bell filled in to make sure you get notifications of my newest video. I really appreciate the support I received, and through that I can make more videos. Here I'm attaching the last leg, and you just do the same process for all the legs. If you notice, I have a brace in the front where I'm using the hole where the neck is as a way to keep the sculpture steady. I would recommend that when you put it in the oven. It might just appear like it is fine when you stick it in the oven, but you have to remember that everything gets soft in the oven. So if he's standing just fine after you put 3 legs on and you think, oh, he'll be okay in the oven, he can fall over because he gets soft when he's in the oven. So it's always important to have a support system in there. And I also want to recommend that you put the front legs on first, and you need to brace the figure so the legs are straight. This sculpture is very difficult, and it's not so much how you sculpt it, but it's the oven. Really, it's the oven is the most tricky part, because his legs are very slender and skinny, which can be prone to cracking, but also having him propped up in the correct position with the straight legs is even harder. So I was very lucky with this, but I have been doing this for years. So would I recommend making this? If you know what you're doing, it's great and it's fantastic. But if you don't, it will be a lot of frustration. You need a lot of patience. You need to understand that sometimes things go wrong, but they are most likely fixable, and not to panic. But would I recommend making it? Heck yeah, I recommend making it. I love how it turned out. And right here, I use just regular acrylic paint. It's very simple. I'm dabbing the paint off to give it a little bit of texture, and once that dries, I'm going to put a little bit of white paint over that, and it's going to give you a very bony, eerie effect, and I really love it. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will help as much as I can. And if you like my content, please like and subscribe. Make sure you fill that little bell in. Many of you know I like to use chalk pastel, and I'm just going to use a brush and then rub it into all the little crevices. I want them to have a spooky-like appearance. And right here, it is almost done. And next, we're going to make his crescent moon to finish him all off. And if you don't have any string, you can just use a little bit of thread. I think that would look really good. If you want, you can put a finish over the eyes and on the little crescent moon charm. But I think it looks pretty good, and I am so happy with the way it turned out. And look how gorgeous it is. Just like it stepped right out from the game, and it is definitely worth all the work that I put into it. I hope you like it. I hope you make it, and if you do make it, please post it so I can see how it turned out. I'd love to see everybody's Nightmare Catnap sculptures. And let me tell you what, we have some very, very talented artists in the community, and I've seen their sculptures and they've used my videos to make them, and I am just so impressed. You guys have done an amazing job, and don't stop doing it. Don't stop, because it's something you can go to when you're having a bad day or you need a break, and just to have something afterwards that you've made for yourself and that other people can see and they can say, wow, you made that? It's worth it. So just put in the time, put in the effort, and you can do it too. I hope you have a wonderful day, my friends. Bye!